Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Give it up! Well, wait a minute. That sounds horrible. What's going on, you scallywags, nutmeggers, all across the fruited plain, conversationalists, and can't forget you haters. It's Reese on the radio live on WTIC News Talk 1080. I want to give a shout out to Jerry Puya, who I spoke to today. You know I love you, brother. Can't wait to do the program out at the Vernon store this Friday. Don't forget, you can join myself, Roseanne on the radio. We will be there live on Hartford Turnpike in Vernon at the Between Rounds doing a live broadcast. Plenty of folks are going to be there. I know we got Greg Dillon from the Thin Blue Lie who's going to be there. We've got the owner of the Trump store that is closing this weekend. He'll be there. I do understand that we may have some other surprise guests who say that they may show up, so I'm not giving you any props until you actually show up, or we know, or we confirm. It may be a state senator. I'm not going to say whom, but apparently he represents Vernon. Again, I'm not giving any names. Don't ask. Anyway, we got Connecticut Food Share that's going to be there as well, a rep from there. I don't know if we're doing an interview with them, but we do have a big sort of deal that's out there for folks who want to buy a dozen bagels a month. For 3 months, you will get a discounted rate. There's a coupon for it and the whole 9 yards that you could purchase. And then come on down there and just be the studio audience, if you will, of the Reese on the Radio show. Even though I know damn well it really isn't the Reese on the Radio show. I'll explain that to you in a minute. Give me some time. I'll break that down. Also, I want to remind you, never forget, because some of you can only listen when you can listen. The show is 4 hours. You're at work. You're doing a whole bunch of other stuff, and you can't really listen to the show. You may not be as fortunate as some of our favorite listeners. Now, what do I mean by that? Everybody who listens to the show is kind of our favorite. But we've got some listeners who listen all the time. Let me see if I can get their theme music up. Yeah, there are certain people who listen to the show every day, all day, while they sit in their kitchen. They are the homies. That's right, my homies sitting at home every day. Dedicated men and women sitting at home who listen to the program. All of my homies. But there are some people who listen at work. Some people who listen driving on the road. They can't listen all the time. Please, this is the reason why you need to go to WTIC.com. You need to download the Odyssey app. You can go to iHeart, or you could go to Reese on the Radio. I would suggest go to WTIC.com. Just personally. That's all I'm saying. But that being said, you always have a way that you can listen to the show because you may miss out on something. And if you've got some time and what did Reese have on the air that I may have missed? I want to know if he talked about this or that. Well, you're only going to find out if you check us out online. So do that. Like I said, I got a surprise coming up on the program. Stay tuned for that. It happens in a couple of seconds. Well, maybe in a couple of minutes. I'll reveal what that surprise is. It's not one of those big, giant surprises like, we're not giving away a car or anything like that. But let's just say you'll be pleased. You'll be pleased. I know that you'll be pleased. I want to talk about something. This station has Brian Kilmeade on it. We've got Eric Erickson on it. And then we've got what's that? Robbins. I forget the guy's name. Robbins, Markley, and Van Camp, who are on after me. And I like all of those guys, some more than others. But those guys cover a lot of national stuff. We on this program try to keep it Connecticut. Unless, of course, it's a big story, like the Renee Good story. we cover that stuff when it's really, really big news. It has to be covered. So I was watching this morning on Fox News and looking online, and I can't tell you how much I am interested in what's happening in Iran. And a question came to me today with everyone in opposition to and who are in support of Donald Trump and his foreign policy. And I got to be honest, I am not like the rest of you. I don't take this whole thing, Donald Trump said that there are going to be no foreign wars. I'm not that guy. I know you guys was like, I want to hold him to exactly what he said. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But I understand that the world is fluid. Things happen. Things change. Actions must be taken. Is Donald Trump wrong for making predictions? We will not get into foreign wars. Is he wrong to do that? Some ways, yes. Because, of course, you anticipate you are going to be a guy that spreads freedom, that spreads business, maybe spreads democracy, lets them know that you can do business with them. You want to make their country prosperous as long as America is prosperous first. But other things may happen, and they do. And I got to be honest with you, folks. It is difficult for me as a human being to stand by and see Iranian protesters be murdered in the streets, man. I don't know about you, but that's difficult for me to watch. I've got no personal ties to the people of Iran. I got no best friend. I didn't get sober with a guy in Iran. I didn't grow up with Iranian neighbors. I've got no tie to them. Other than the fact that they are human beings and they crave the thing that I know I would want for myself, freedom. And I listen to those people. Maybe they're foolhardy by screaming, President Trump, help us. But if I'm Donald Trump, and if I think I know this guy, he can't let that fall on deaf ears. If I'm looking at Donald Trump or thinking like him in a sense, outside all of that other stuff, Donald Trump doesn't care about black people, or Donald Trump hates the Browns, or he's an anti-Semite, all that other stuff. I am looking at Donald Trump for what I know about him through people who tell stories about the goodwill that he has put on them or given to them. And I know Donald Trump saying to himself, I can't sit idly by as the most powerful man on earth and watch thousands of people be slaughtered. Knowing that this regime in Iran is not just willing to eradicate the world, that it will kill its own citizens to stay in power. And I can't hold the president to this so-called promise not to get into foreign wars. That being said, let me also say this. It really wouldn't be, would it? I mean, let's be honest. The campaign that would happen in Iran, what kind of war would it be? I mean, it was supposed to be a war when we took out probably the most important asset that Iran had, and that was its nuclear capabilities. That should have been an all-out war. It should have been a war when we took out al-Baghdadi. It should have been a war when we took out Soleimani. Shouldn't it have been? It should have been an all-out war. But no, what did Iran do? They said, hey, listen, President, we're going to fire a couple of missiles by you guys. Just going to save face. Our people, they're getting restless. You just came by. You slapped us up a bit. We at least have to appear like we're fighting back. Can you understand? Sure, no problem, guys. Fire them off. I don't believe that Donald Trump would go in there with a mission speaking to the generals and demanding facts. Look, I told the American people that I would never get into a long war in the Middle East. Is there a way that we can go there and we can salvage the freedom of these people? without getting into a large-scale war, without getting into an endless war? Is there a way that my foreign policy can still stay intact while I free oppressed people who are begging for our help? And I think that is what his plan is to do. But I've got to ask you, if you wish to share your point of view on this, and I know a lot of you are like, look, Reese, I just don't want to get into it. That's fine. But can you, and I'm just asking, as an American citizen, can you sit idly by and watch these people get slaughtered? There are people being shot by military from rooftops randomly. There are body bags everywhere. I know there's some people saying, it's propaganda. Okay, just for a minute. I know it's Whack Job Wednesday, but just for a minute, let's set that aside. It's just the question. Do you think it's right for us to sit by while these people cry for help and no one else is coming to their aid? There's no other Muslim countries that are going to come. Bahrain ain't coming. Saudi Arabia ain't coming. Yemen ain't coming. Egypt not coming. Turkey, nothing. And those people are screaming, Donald Trump, America, please help us, please save us. How can you sit idly by? It makes it difficult to. It just does, in my view. And I totally understand that others can't agree with that. It just blows my mind. It does. It just does. Now, would you guys like your surprise? Okay, here's your surprise. Without further ado, because I know you don't care about anybody but her. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my better half. Roseanne on the radio is here. My better half is here. How are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm good. How are you?
In early, normally here on Friday, but we're doing the live broadcast on Friday. So, you wanted to come in because, you were sitting at the house, patiently waiting for me in our small little matchbox, and you were getting a little bored and restless.
Yeah. I think, honestly, my biggest problem, it's going to sound so cheesy and so lame.
Tell the truth.
I hate being away from you. I really do. I would rather sit here in the studio quietly in a corner and play a game on my iPad rather than spend the entire day away from you. I know it's so cheesy and lame. When did I become this girl?
No, I just want you to repeat it again because I'm an amazing individual. Yes. You heard it, ladies. This guy's off the market. But no, I had a listener send me a text yesterday, and she said these exact words: "I love you, Reese, but I love Roseanne more." So I thought about that, and when you said, "Hey, can I come into the office with you?" I said, "You know what? They're missing you. They only see you once a week or hear from you once a week." So I figured you'd come in today. You know what? My opening monologue, of course, having never served in the military, and the closest I've ever, as far as my association with the military, is I come from a military family. My grandfather, my grandmother even, and my uncles and my aunt all served in the military. My direct family has not served. But outside of that, there is you, and you have served your country. In my opening monologue, which I never share with you, my point of view, what do you think about this situation in Iran?
Iran?
Yeah.
Okay, you say Iran.
I know you say Iran. You say everything phonetically correct.
It's Iran. That's how the people of Iran say it. I've had Iran. In fact, I learned how to say a few phrases in Farsi.
Yeah, that's right. Because when we went to go see our sponsor,
the teeth people.
Why am I forgetting your name now? Columbia Dental.
There we go.
We went to go see Columbia Dental. We went to go introduce ourselves to them. One of the office managers is from Iran.
Iran, right.
So, and you were speaking Farsi with. I mean, no.
It is Farsi.
Farsi. You're speaking Farsi to her.
Yeah. I think what's happening in Iran right now is phenomenal for so many reasons. I remember as a kid growing up and seeing images of revolution happening on TV.
Yeah.
And not understanding what it was, right? But I remember being a little bit frightened and afraid, thinking, oh my gosh, is this coming to our house? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now as an adult, I see it, and I hear the Iranian people just screaming. I mean, I'm watching video after video of people asking President Trump to come in and help. President Trump, we love you. We love America. Changing of the Iranian flag from that weird black thing in the center back to the lion that stood in the center of the flag that represented its strength. Iran is having a huge Christian blow up population right now. The Christian religion is blowing up in Iran for a reason. So I'm really looking at this, and I'm filled with pride. I'm filled with hope. If you look at where Iran was in 1979, it was normal. And by normal, I mean...
I've seen those pictures.
Oh, my God. Let me
Night
tell you,
and
honestly,
day.
Iranian women are making me so insecure. Those women are gorgeous. They're beautiful. The men, not so much, but the women... Oh, my God.
No, we were looking at an old picture of, like, their discotheques and
on the beach wearing bikinis and girls in miniskirts and going to college. It was normal, right? You introduce Islam and all hell breaks loose. The problem here isn't Iran itself. It is the
regime.
It is the invasion of Islamic ideology. There's this misbelief, and I've been studying more and more. There's this misbelief that Islam is a religion, and it's not. It's a political ideology.
Right. The two they're no different from each other. It is political as it is. Like it's always been deemed as a religion by Westerners.
Right, but it's not. It is a political ideology that is designed to enslave people. It is designed to create a male-oriented hierarchy, which is phenomenal to me because you have all these young idiots running around screaming and wearing the kafia. I support Hamas, and they want socialism, and all these young girls. What were you watching a video yesterday with all these little white girls running around screaming? It was a young Akbar.
Yeah, it was a young white girl who had converted to. Oh, no, that was a separate one. A young white girl had converted to Islam and then did a video condemning Islam for not including women or not subjugating women.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about. I could hear the video. It was a group of white women, Allah Akbar, whatever that thing is that they're saying, right? And they're repeating it, and I'm like, do they not understand what Islam means to them? Do they not understand that Muslim men come to the United States specifically with the intention of capturing, marrying, and procreating with white women as a way of what used to be called as prima nocta in old...
I only know that because of... sorry.
Yes, Braveheart, right?
No, yeah, exactly.
But that's exactly what it was. The goal was to breed out the undesirable. And so that's their goal. They come here and they sleep with white women. They treat us like They treat white women like garbage. And then
you got to hold on. I got to go next because you're going to go into a deep dive on religious doctrine or at least political doctrine here. And I don't want to go in that route yet. But we got plenty of stuff to get into. Stand by. More news, more views. Roseanne is here. Yes, your favorite. When we return, it's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
You think? Oh, there we go. We're back. It's Reese on the radio. Roseanne on the radio here on News Talk 1080 WTIC. So in the last break, we were talking about whether or not the United States should go into Iran.
Thank you.
To assist. Yeah, only to please you. To go into Iran to help those people who are asking for the USA's help. You were talking about the background and the political ideology of Islam as opposed to its religion. Now, the only reason why I'm saying this is because I keep it real, and I know people who are always going to do what they do. Did you hear what they were saying on Reese on the radio about Islam and blah, blah, blah?
There's going to be this whole Islamophobia thing. And here's
the accusation is going to come that that's what you are.
Right. I'm not Islamophobic. I'm not afraid. Mm-hmm. I have educated myself about the ideology, and I've become very well aware of the transformations that have happened in multiple parts of the world with the introduction of an ideology that is designed to disrupt an existing culture.
The interesting part about that is you and I can go through mountains of evidence of this where we hear from the people who practice
or
this.
Left.
Sorry?
Or left.
Or left. Who will back up everything that you said here.
Right.
Okay? So that when we're having this conversation, and this is where I want to talk to not only the people who would complain, but I want to talk to the people who they would complain to. And this is very important that I get this out. Someone is going to come to you, and they've done it because I've been here, and they did it. Certain groups or individuals will call up the office and say, did you hear what Reese was talking to? Well, some guest and blah, 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 blah. And I know the person who they're complaining to is not versed in the conversation, so they cannot make a judgment call on what was being said was accurate and whether or not it's based in fact. The only thing they hear is a complaint. Oh, they were offended. And that gets addressed first, not the evidence of said argument or statement. So I'm saying to both, those who would complain and those who would be complained to, so that you understand. One, to the complainer, have your facts. Okay? Because the person you complain to, when they come to me, I am going to make sure that they are backed up by evidence. So you're not just going to get away with the whole blanket, I'm offended stuff. So you understand you are dealing with the real deal here, not some fake phony who wants to, I'm not a shock jock. Okay? Just so you understand. Second, I defend my wife to the hilt.
And I do everything I can not to put you in a position to get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, well, no.
Listen, you're supposed to...
Road rage notwithstanding.
You're supposed to do what I tell you.
Yeah, but no, I just want to make that clear because, again, we're talking about where we are in this sort of...
The world is in upheaval right now, right?
Yeah, in a lot of places.
Right. There is geopolitical transformation occurring all over the world today.
Indeed.
It's not just Minnesota. It is all over the world. And so what I was getting to with the whole Iran thing is these are people that have been asking to just have their lives back.
Yes.
Right? I'm 47. I'll be 48. I was born in 78. 1979 is when Iran fell under this regime. Mm-hmm. And the people have disappeared. Mm-hmm. Completely and absolutely. When I first moved to the D.C. area in Northern Virginia, my first ever roommate was from Iran. And she told me about her family having to flee in the middle of the night. Her dad was a general in the Iranian army.
We've heard these stories.
And she had her, she was a small child. They had to flee, So these are people that just want their world back. And when they see President Trump, the videos that I keep seeing that are the most inspirational are the ones who keep saying, we see what you did in Venezuela, please help us.
Yeah.
Right? And you've got all these people crying about, hands off Venezuela. Why are Americans crying about Venezuela when Venezuelan people are saying thank you?
Mm-hmm. And that's why I brought this up today as the opening monologue. It's that when you see the backdrop, right? Venezuela sort of was in a vacuum in a lot of ways. Like there was this paying attention to getting Maduro out of Venezuela while people got to ignore all of the famine, the people who were imprisoned, even the American prisoners in Venezuela. That story is almost 6, 7, 8 years old where people were starving and had to eat their own pets in order to survive. Hold on, let me just finish this. When they had to eat their own. That story is so old to the news cycle today that people have forgotten about that. And the fact that they've forgotten that Maduro was responsible for all of those things, they could see it with the coin up to the face where they could ignore all the rest of the stuff and just say, hands off Venezuela, and at the same time ignore the people who are celebrating their freedom, if you will. Right. The same thing is with Iran. They don't remember that, again, just under 10 years ago, Iran had this really, really huge uprising where there was a famous woman who was shot and killed on a live stream. And people have forgotten about that. There were people outraged in that moment, but they've forgotten about her, forgotten that people in Iran wanted their freedom, and they've wanted their freedom for a long time. Now they have the sort of another battery on their back to fight against this regime. They believe that Donald Trump is the president to do it. And they are, in essence, screaming out in the streets. And what is Iran doing as a response to that? They are killing people in the street, which then brings me back to my original question. As American citizens, can we sit idly by?
I don't think that we should. Listen, every war that the United States has fought, has won. We have won with the help of allies, with people that we had to go to and ask for help. France, anyone? During the American Revolution? You know what I mean? The Civil War. No, I think that was pretty much fought by us alone.
Yeah.
I think there was some offer of assistance from foreign entities, but it was very
limited.
Yes. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Afghanistan. Every war that we have ever fought has been fought with allies, right? The Iranian people are asking for help.
Does it have to be a war, though?
It doesn't have to be a war. President Trump took out al-Baghdadi in what? A week, when that general was telling him it was going to take, 3 to 5 years to finish this war in Afghanistan. And Trump was like, that's where the guy is? Go get him with your beautiful dogs, your beautiful, beautiful dogs. I can't do the voice, but that's great. So it will not take that long when you have a strong, decisive leader in office. When you have somebody strong in leadership who's willing to make decisions without hurt feelings. Oh, well, they're going to look at me. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what you think about it.
I think that's true.
That's why he can get crap done as quickly as he gets crap done. And that's what we need more of.
There's an interesting angle to look at all of this. I think the angle that people are choosing is the fact that there's going to be military involvement because it would be regime change. But the regime,
sort of.
Right. The regime change in general wouldn't be like you let the Iranian people make a decision about their own.
Their decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Their crown
that's right.
Prince has already made the decision to come back to Iran.
Right.
There is a crown prince. He and his family, his father was the king, and the entire family was
exiled.
There we go, exiled. And they've been living in exile for nearly 50 years. Now the Iranian people are rising up. Reza Pahlavi, I think is his name. He wants to come home. He wants to lead his people. His people want him sitting on the throne. What a lot of people don't understand about Iran prior to this is that Iran was one of the most generous nations. I mean, the history on what that family has done to help other people, even during World War II, helping Jewish people and Polish people, it's phenomenal. So the new, old, former, previous, real legitimate leadership wants to come back. The people want them back. This isn't a regime change. This is expelling.
This is a restoration of.
This is expelling a usurper and restoring what is right.
Let me get to Jim in Wellington real quick. How you doing, Jim?
Yes, sir. On your Iranian question, number one, yeah, we should do something, and I believe the Trump administration will figure out the best way to go forward.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. Number two, people have to remember that when the Shah and his father were put in place, they weren't the legitimate leaders being put in place back in the 40s and into the 50s. And at the time when the Shah was deposed,
mm-hmm.
there was quite a bit going on in Iran. Obviously, there was opposition to Khomeini and his group,
mm-hmm.
but the Persians were in the streets with some of those people, and they wanted the Shah out. We don't have to get into that history either.
Right.
I have a feeling that the Trump administration is probably trying to figure out who are the best people that are in place in Iran right now that are going to be able to stabilize internally, i.e. the police force and things along those lines.
Right.
What part of those people are going to be able to get into the streets and keep everything under control before Trump does before they try to go in there and do any action?
Right, because there still could be a military coup, even if the regime is ousted.
Yes. I can tell you that. Well, I guess my next point to dovetail into it is that The Israelis have been in there since who knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Israelis that that took out the echelon of the military just before Trump went in there and took out the nuclear.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to believe that the Israelis are still there, and they could take out that whole leadership right now if they needed to. So I'm talking about the President Mullah there. I think his name is Khomeini as well. So at the end of all of it, our end from the United States is, yes, we need to do something. If I know Trump, he'll probably figure out a way to get 30 million barrels of oil, which has to be considered also because of China and Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a bunch of stuff going on here. The stability of Iran, there's quite a few people in Iran that would not want to see the Shah come back, or the son.
Yeah.
They may not want to see him come back. So it's a stability issue as far as I'm concerned, and maybe we're just waiting to see who we can get out of who's there now to make sure that at least the government's stabilized.
Yeah, good point. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call.
Okay, sir, thank you.
You got it. Jim in Willington, ladies and gentlemen. Can I ask you a quick question before I take a break?
Of course.
Like, is this what happens when I leave you alone at home? You do all of this research when you're just sitting around doing nothing, just watching documentaries and getting to the bottom? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't know how you have the time. Because when I'm around, all you do is take care of me.
I love history. I love studying. You gave me a topic to look into, and I've got notes, right?
Yeah.
That's what I love doing. I love facts. I love having facts. I love writing them down and committing them to memory. Mm-hmm. Even if nobody else knows what's going on. And this affords me the opportunity and the ability to walk into almost any conversation and be able to engage without sounding like an idiot. But this also means that I have to be able to listen and ask questions and say, yeah, I don't understand that. Would you be willing to teach me? So
just say nerd.
Your mother.
We'll take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. Roseanne's here. And your phone calls, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
When we come back in a couple of minutes, Roseanne and I are going to talk about, and I got to go through my show notes here. When we come back after the news, we're going to talk about Danbury's racial profiling problem in about the 3:30 hour. So stand by for that. By the way, if you're having problems on X finding the show, it's my fault. I forgot to start the streaming at 3 o'clock. 2 o'clock, because that's when you're supposed to start it. If you don't, it won't go on there. But we're on YouTube and, of course, on ReeseOnTheRadio.com. So if you want to go there, please go there so you can listen and watch the show on both of those locations, ReeseOnTheRadio.com and on YouTube at Reese on the Radio Show. Again, at Reese on the Radio Show. So you can watch the program and you can chat along with us during the show. The Danbury problem is interesting because what this coalition is asking for is quite funny. I want to talk about that a little bit today as well. We also have a report on the Abolish ICE movement, which is very interesting. I want to talk about that in a little bit as well. Don't forget, if we haven't mentioned it yet, this Friday, we will be live at Hartford Turnpike in Vernon at the Between Rounds in Vernon, where we'll be doing a live broadcast there. So come on by. We've got a half off on a dozen bagels a month for 3 months. You can pick up a coupon to pay half price for those. I think it's a $24 coupon that you can buy. It's 1 month at half off for a dozen bagels. You can do that there as well. We've got Connecticut Food Share that's going to be there. We've got, of course, they have a companion campaign with them to buy said bagels. Also, the owner of the Trump store that's closing down this weekend will be a guest. We'll also have Greg Dillon, the author of The Thin Blue Lie, is going to be there. He'll be my guest hanging out during the show. He is going to tell us a little bit about the federal government and how, in essence, it works with local governments with this back and forth that's going on with Renee Good. So we'll have all of that and a whole bunch more. Let's see. The chat room says, but we haven't heard from Senator Chris Murphy on the latest international news. He's always running for a camera, with his Monday morning quarterbacking. That's true. He hasn't said a word about this Iran thing, which I also find interesting on his part. Aaron B. says, sorry, I would bet that Trump already has a plan and has all the machinery in place to execute, just like in Venezuela. We will wake up and it will be done. You might be right. Aaron, I'm going to give you the round of applause for that one. You may very well be right about that. He said, if I had to make a bet, I would bet that Trump would do that. Yeah, it would be in the middle of the night. We would wake up in the morning and go, Trump did what? Which is kind of always the case with this guy. You know, let me tell you something, Aaron. You bring up a great point in all of this before we go to the top of the hour. I don't know how many times it was 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, or maybe just before the new year. Yeah, it had to have been like early December. There were so many news reports and so many of these pundit shows on CNN and MSNBC alike where they were holding segments talking about the fatigue of President Trump. He's getting slow. He looks lethargic. He's not and sure enough, over the weekend, Venezuela happens. And like all of that commentary is done and over with. Not a word to be spoken.
He doesn't look senile and dementia-ridden.
Sure doesn't.
Yeah.
And I got this piece from David Brooks, who is always on PBS. He's supposed to be a conservative, but he hates Donald Trump. He's a huge never-Trumper. And he said something on a podcast, I think yesterday, which I found quite interesting. And you guys should listen to this.
The people I tend to know would never go to a MAGA rally. If you're going to cover Trump and MAGA or the Trump movement, do not go to MAGA rallies. That's not the representative sample. Most people I know who voted for Trump don't like him. They find him troubling in a zillion ways. They disagree with certain policies like the tariffs, but they basically buy his story. They buy his story that the elites have betrayed us. And one of the ways the elites have betrayed us, they would say, and I sort of agree.
Ooh. And he agrees, David Brooks does, probably because he knows it's true.
Is in the Biden years, immigration just massively exploded. And so I heard from a guy from Montana last week, and he said, talking to progressives, you guys had 40 years to police yourselves, and you didn't do it. And therefore, now it's our turn. You had your shot. And I would say they would say that about immigration. They would say that about the universities. 82% of college students think they have to lie to professors and pretend they're more progressive than they are in order to get through school.
And the next line he says it all, folks. It says it all.
And that's a form of soft authoritarianism, frankly.
That's exactly what it is. Soft authoritarianism. And that's the win. Whether you like it or not, that's how Donald Trump wins. Every way that you call the guy a dictator and a fascist, deep down, you know that's on your side. And David Brooks, again, doesn't like Trump, knows it's true. We'll take a break. When we come back, we got headlines, more with Roseanne on the radio. Danbury's, racial profiling problem and much, much more. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Of course, we are back. It is just after 3 o'clock. It is time for headlines. Researchers at Yale University in Connecticut have identified specific proteins that facilitate the spread of Parkinson's pathology in the brain. This discovery, published in a leading journal, offers new insights on how the disease progresses and could lead to targeted therapies to halt its advancement. The study involved advancing imaging and molecular analysis. The findings are seen in a significant step forward in neurodegenerative search. I had to do that 3 times before I got it right. potentially benefiting millions worldwide. Local experiments are optimistic about clinical applications, with funding from state and federal sources supporting ongoing work. This breakthrough underscores Connecticut's role in medical innovations. Congratulations to Yale. There's also a report that says that a significant member of the faculty at Yale University only donate to Democrats. And the headline reads, "And water is wet." It's what it read. Which, again, no kidding. 3 Connecticut school districts, Hartford, New Haven, and Waterbury, we'll talk about this later, by the way, have lost millions of dollars in federal grants intended for community school programs. The Trump administration cited conflicts with federal priorities, specifically around racial equity initiatives, leading to the abrupt cancellation of the funding. This has left educators and administrators scrambling from alternative resources to support at-risk students. The cuts, totaling around $4 million, were part of a broader review of grants awarded under previous administrations. Community leaders have expressed outrage, arguing that these programs are essential for providing wraparound services like health care and family support in underserved areas. State officials are exploring options to mitigate the impact, but the sudden loss has raised concerns about long-term effects of educational equity in Connecticut. By the way, this particular thing, Roseanne, which makes this story so interesting, I went and looked up what the budget went to, the $4 million that those 3 towns are going to miss, and it turns out that a lot of it was going to, wait for it, therapy. Yeah.
For
children.
Like autism therapy?
No. They did not specify.
Like I'm really sad therapy?
Yeah, I would imagine so. And they're saying, like, and again, I'm saying, who are these people this stuff designed for? And it's always designed for minority groups. But in this case, this is $4 million to NGOs to fund illegals.
What's going on in these kids' homes?
I don't know, but I didn't know that public schools even funded therapy. I just didn't.
I mean, we had a school counselor, but we were
right.
like...
Did you ever see the guidance counselor when you were a kid?
I did, but that was prior to going into foster care.
Yeah,
so.
you went there for abuse,
right.
like a lot of us.
Right.
I remember we had a senior advisor, but my senior advisor was Mr. Gershon, and he was my social studies teacher, so I saw him all the time.
Right.
So I can't remember a time where I went to go see a guidance counselor. No, I can't. Not unless I was dealing with DCF. What does a
counselor do anyway?
I don't know. It's supposed to be
guide,
counsel? To counsel you into what your best career is going to be, which was always something like, you are going to make a great cashier. You're going to be fantastic in retail.
Do this for me. That's right, French fries.
Last June, this is a very important story because we had Linda Sinkowitz on the program earlier in the week, Monday, in fact. This is a great story. Last June, Tom Fenton, who's the president of Judicial Watch, announced that his organization was suing Oregon to remove names of inactive voters from the state's voter rolls. Here's what Tom said. He said, "Hi, everyone. Huge news. Judicial Watch lawsuits led to the cleanup of 4 million dirty names from the voting rolls in just the last 2 years or so. But there's more heavy lifting to be done for cleaner elections. That's why Judicial Watch just sued the state of Oregon to force it to finally clean up its voter rolls, which are a mess. Federal law requires states to take reasonable steps to clean up their voter rolls, and Oregon hasn't been doing that. In fact, our lawsuit just filed for one with the Constitution Party of Oregon and Oregon voters details how 29 of Oregon's 36 counties removed few to no registrations as required by federal election law. Oregon and 35 of its counties had overall registration rates exceeding 100%. Frankly, Oregon has the highest known inactive registration rate of any state in the nation. Dirty voting rolls can mean dirty elections, of course. Oregon has said some of the worst voting rolls in America needs to be cleaned up, and as soon as possible. In the meantime, Judicial Watch has lawsuits to clean up the voter rolls in California and Illinois. Simply put, millions of ineligible names need to be removed from the voting rolls under federal law, and Judicial Watch has been and is and will be in federal court making it happen. On Monday, Tom Fitton announced that the Oregon Secretary of State announced the removal of, check this, 800,000 dirty names from the state voter rolls.
Wow.
800,000. That's why you cannot look at these stories, folks, about the voter rolls. All of you say it here in the state. It's like, you know the voting is dirty here. You all know it. But action can be and must be taken. You can't leave it to everybody else. You've got to demand it. Don't just sit idly by. Now for the stupidest thing I heard today.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Okay, Roseanne, you're going to have to watch me on this one. You're going to have to pay very, very close attention to me. A 2022 study out of Griffin University in Australia found that nose picking can usher chlamydia pneumoniae bacteria that can cause respiratory tract infections into the olfactory nerve in the nose of mice. The bacteria can then travel to the brain. As a result, brain cells deposit amyloid. Thank you. Amyloid beta protein. I knew I was going to need you here for this one. These fragments cling together to form sticky plaques that disrupt cell communication and can cause brain cell death, leading to memory loss and dementia. Where's the first to show that chlamydia pneumoniae? You gotta have to read this darn thing. I can't read these clinical words. You were a medic.
Oh, chlamydia pneumoniae.
Okay, so pneumoniae, and the rest of the story reads. Second paragraph.
Okay. We are the first to show that chlamydia pneumoniae can go directly up the nose and into the brain, where it can set off pathologies that look like Alzheimer's disease. Neuroscientist James St. John said when the research was published.
Told you it's not easy, is it?
Scientific report.
So they're saying that picking your nose can lead to dementia.
There is a link in essence, there's
a link to picking your nose.
Right.
Something we've done. They say 90% of Americans pick their nose.
My nose itches, thanks.
90% of Americans pick their nose.
Okay.
So are you saying that we are contributing to our own dementia, if not Alzheimer's?
This is why it's important to wash your hands.
I get that. I know, you make me wash my hands after everything.
I do.
It's insanity.
Especially if some of the things that you do and touch and then you want to touch my person. Yeah, you're going to have to wash those grubby little paws of yours.
Jason, you know what? Let me tell you something. This show has created the best sleuth-type people in the world. Jason just asked this very significant question. How did they get the mice to pick their noses?
You know what?
God bless you, Jason. God bless you.
They're smart little mice.
But no, come on. You hear a story like that, and you cannot miss the lead. How do you get the mice to pick their noses?
That is what we like to call critical thinking.
Yes, exactly. Right out the box.
Yeah.
Right out the box. So, okay, so this that's why I said this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Picking your nose. Why don't they just say what they want to say? We don't want people picking their nose anymore. Stop doing it.
Well, because if you want to be, picking your nose is essential, right? There is debris inside of your nostrils that cannot be removed
by just blowing.
And they're not going to expel themselves naturally. So digital intervention is often required.
Yes. Digital intervention.
Yes. I learned this really cool phrase in the Army. It's called digital epistaxis.
Okay.
That just means nose picking related nose bleeding.
Oh.
Exactly. So digital Great, now I forgot the word. Anyway, I think what this post is really trying to say is wash your hands.
Right.
I don't think this is about picking your nose. Picking your nose is essential. Like, you have to.
Yeah,
pick
there's
your
no
nose.
way. Yeah, you have to do it.
Sometimes you just get an itch in there, and the only way to get it is you got to get in there.
Do you
right?
think, are we beyond the days of getting the booger snatcher that we used to use on the babies?
Oh, the bulb?
Yes, it has a little bulb, then you put it, the babies hate it.
Okay.
The babies can't stand it. I remember we used to do it to Caleb when he was younger. Oh, he used to fidget. Oh, it was the worst.
Well, babies' nostrils are so small.
Of course.
You can't get anything in there except maybe a Q-tip, but you don't want to stick a Q-tip up there because God only knows.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, no, you don't need a bulb in your nose.
I call it the boogie snatcher.
Ugh, that's gross. I can still hear the...
They do?
Ugh.
There's a nose picker? There's an actual... Yeah, well, I don't know where this is. You can get it at like a CVS or something? Oh, I got to know where. Now I have to know where.
I will Google it for you.
Yeah, exactly. But the booger snatcher sounds like a fun thing for an adult. You put the little thing in there, you squeeze it, and then you put it up, and it, little suction comes right out. Come on. What did you called it a bulb when you used it when a kid, or you didn't call it a boogie snatcher?
It was a bulb.
We called it the boogie snatcher in the house. Give me the boogie snatcher. The boogie snatcher.
Oh.
It's a great name.
Sure. I just, I got nothing.
Melody says, Roseanne, you are so right. She tells her husband all the time to wash his hands.
Because men are friggin' disgusting. The things you guys do and touch.
Oh, don't try to stand outside of the rest of this, Roland. Roland's like, not all of us. Yeah, right. Look, I understand. We're men. We're not always thinking about, we're not pristine people.
Don, bro, I wash my hands.
Okay, I
all
get
the
it.
time.
I know.
It's not about being pristine. It's about you touch stuff, you adjust, and you're scratching, and then you're like, come here, baby, let me touch. And now I got that on my face. What's wrong with you? I thought you loved me.
I do.
Yeah.
I want to share myself with you.
You got to accept the good with the bad, Roseanne.
I don't know about all of that.
I don't know. Well, I think you're right. I think that's what they're trying to say. I would just say this is why you should wash your hands because of Alzheimer's and dementia. I don't think it's weird because it's one thing that does not track and doesn't sell to the American public.
Don't pick your nose.
No, no. Alzheimer's and dementia. Like people, they're like the amount or the level of attention that it gets is often limited to insults or concern about individuals, right?
Yeah, nobody cares until it's happening to them.
That's true. It is a personal issue.
And until it actually happens to me, it's not going to happen to me.
When we found out, what was it? There was like recent research that said that they had made there was some groundbreaking evidence that they may have been able to find a cure to Alzheimer's, right? They were really getting down that road. And it was a blip in the news. And I thought that was one of the most important medical breakthroughs that we could have outside of like diabetes cure. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was just a blip on the radar.
Because you can't go around curing diseases. The pharmaceutical companies and hospitals are going to go broke.
Yeah, okay, that's all fine and good, but the public should be interested in that. I thought that it was an epidemic of huge proportions.
I'm sorry, I just had a complete flash in my brain of the people trying to watch these things.
Watch what things?
These news, like, first of all, you've got to get people willing to sit down and watch the news, right? And people right now are too busy watching TikToks and women fist fighting at a awful waffle. You got kids running around doing weird dances and making strange noises. You got dudes wearing dresses. I mean, they don't care about stupid things like Alzheimer's.
I don't know, man. It scares the hell out of me.
Trust me, I know. Do you know what the two leading thought processes are behind Alzheimer's?
What?
It is type 3 diabetes. That is a glucose, insulin intolerance in the brain or a dysfunction in the brain's ability to process glucose.
Okay.
And the brain is now, I think, something like 20 to 30% microplastic.
Oh, right,
And so-
because of all the microplastics that we consume over the years.
Right, and as we know, cerebrospinal fluid only regenerates about every 12 months.
Okay.
Right, every other cell in your body, 7 to 30 days is the average, depending on what type of cell it is. But the cerebrospinal fluid is up to a year, so that fluid doesn't move nearly as rapidly, which also leads to the whole diabetes 3.
If I didn't say this before, I apologize. You're a nerd.
Yeah, mother.
Now, do you know why because we can keep this really, really basic and on me.
Right.
The whole thing about Alzheimer's to me is that so I've witnessed somebody who had passed away, having dementia and Alzheimer's. My ex-wife's father-in-law. Mm-hmm. And I tell everybody this is a horrible story, but I tell it nonetheless because I didn't mean it to be mean, but it was back in 2016. I apologize. He died that year. And it was, he was in a nursing home, and it was rare that we could ever get out to go visit him. We had to go all the way to Manassas. And we would go there to go visit him sometimes. And my ex-wife couldn't get there all the time, but I worked in the Manassas area. That was part of my route when I worked at U-Haul. So since they couldn't, I would go there and visit him. So sometimes I get there and visit him, and he would kind of remember who I was, just slightly. I was only in his life for a couple of years, so sometimes I walk in and he'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" I knew he couldn't remember my name. But he would talk. We'd sit in the day area to watch television. It was always, the game show network. And I remember just out of nowhere, I said to myself, because he's from Queens. His name was Jeff. And he's from Queens. And he knew and grew up with Trump. They were all a part of that neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, but by Hillcrest.
Nice.
So they knew all the family. And I say to Jeff, we're sitting in there in 2016, and I don't know why, but it was like one of those stupid little experiments I had to ask. And I go, "Hey, Jeff." And he goes, "Yeah." So he remembered his name. So I was like, okay, gotta go with the second one. I go, Trump's running for president. And in my head, I'm saying to myself, man, if he remembers Trump, would that, in my head, be kind of a breakthrough? That the aura, the relevance of Trump with a guy with dementia and Alzheimer's, that he would at least remember Trump.
Right.
He remembered a cat from 1984. How could he not remember Trump? And I'll never forget, I was so let down. Jeff looks at me and goes, "Who's that guy?" I went, "Damn." I was so let down. I was like, damn it. Because I thought totally Trump would completely supersede any dementia that he had. And he didn't, and it let me down a little bit. And I was just like, ah. And it took me years to tell that story.
I'm sorry.
It just broke my heart.
It took an hour to tell it just now, so. No. I'm kidding. Sorry.
Did I call you a nerd yet? Yeah, nerd.
Did I say your mother yet? Because I meant to.
Anyway, we got to take a break. When we come back, Danbury claims that they have a racial profiling problem. Roseanne crunched the numbers. It turns out
the math ain't math.
The math ain't mathing, and it turns out that Danbury may very well just want special treatment for illegals. We'll break all that down when we get back. Plus your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
We're back. Reese on the radio live right here on News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let's get to the phones real quick before we talk about this Danbury thing. Leroy, I tried to contact some people about being about a mechanic. I got no luck, but how are you doing otherwise?
I'm good. Hey, man, I stayed up all night last night because of your show.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because you let that bum disrespect all black women yesterday at the end of the show, talking about crazy black women, this and that. He should respect his great-great-grandmother, because all humans came out of black people. You tell him
Wait, hold on. You said that he disrespected all black women, and your response to that is that all black women are good? So your counter to that is, and again, he makes a ridiculous statement that says all black women are this, and then your counter to that is all black women are the other. Isn't the truth somewhere? Wait.
I'm not saying they all
are
the other, but they're not like he's saying it.
Oh, so what? It doesn't. But that's no. That's no big deal. You almost seem as though you're giving credence to Mike as if because Mike said it, and all of a sudden it's based in fact. As I said to Mike, that's not true. I even stopped him and I said, that's nonsense.
I thought I heard you agreeing with him.
No, get out of here. Come on, dude.
I stayed on the phone until the show went off, and you never called. You never answered.
No, because I saw the last calls on there. But the truth be told, Mike says some crazy things all the time. But I even I said to him, that's not all true. What do you got, Roseanne?
All right, And one more thing, if I could say it.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
All of the founding fathers were Masons. You know what a Mason is?
Yes, I do.
It's an undercover Muslim.
Is it undercover Muslim?
No, it's not.
Yes.
That is not.
What do you think it is? They talk about Allah, and I've read the book.
Actually, they've talked about all of the. They actually talk about the Great Spirit. They talk about a higher power. There's no. They don't proclaim to have
Allah is mentioned, ma'am.
No, she's not denying.
Jesus,
she's not denying that.
Buddha. I mean, they're all mentioned. If you've ever. I know that you've read the book, but I was actually married to a Mason, went to a lot of Masonic events. I did a lot with the Eastern Stars as well. The requirement to be a Mason is that you have a belief in a higher power, a power greater than yourself. They take people from all religions. So if you're going to make an assertion, it's essential that you understand factually what it is you're talking about. They do mention Allah because there is an acceptance of Muslim people.
Well, wait a minute. She's giving you
a Mason can only get 33 1/3 degrees.
That's not true.
That's the book that he's reading out of, the Quran.
But Leroy, hold on. Leroy, are you a Mason?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, wait a minute. In this debate, and she's trying to have this debate with you, is saying that, and I know her ex-husband. Okay, he is a Mason, and we've had this discussion, and a Shriner, that's right. So she's very aware of this because she has gone to these events. So and in fact, almost, what did you want to be, or you almost became
I really wanted to become an Eastern Star, but at the time, I was very anti-Christian.
Yeah.
And he told me that it's essential that in order to become a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, and a member in good standing, you have to have a faith in a power that's greater than yourself.
Right.
That is the very first step in becoming eligible to become an Eastern Star as a woman.
Okay. So she obviously she knows what she's talking about. She's actually been involved with that. So it's not an argument about whether or not Mike said that all black women are this. So what? Mike does it because Mike said it. Now it's a fact.
Mike?
Yeah, it was White Mike.
Nobody
takes White Mike seriously when he starts talking that racial nonsense. Nobody does that.
We don't take White Mike seriously. I really don't. If you ever listen to the show, you'll hear me get into it with Mike more than anybody else. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point here is that not all humans on Earth came from Africa. That is actually it's a misnomer.
I said the beginning of civilization.
I'd like you to understand that there is very, very weak evidence to show that Africans...
Leroy, give me a second. Leroy, give her a second.
...share any actual DNA with Native Americans. There is a belief that they came from a certain place. However, DNA studies are showing that different Native groups throughout Central and South America, even parts of North America, do not share DNA with African or Sub-Saharan people. It would behoove you to do some research on that as well.
Okay.
I have studied.
Okay, there's a possibility. Leroy, is there a strong... Leroy.
I don't listen to people I read. I don't listen to people I read.
If God, can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
If God didn't make but one man, and everybody know that the black man has been here ever since there was an earth.
Okay, I'm not...
That's the current belief system of certain people, but if you actually broaden your history or you broaden your knowledge and don't only focus on Africa-centric history and actually start listening to archaeologists and anthropologists.
I do listen to them, ma'am.
Okay, Leroy, this is an opportunity because I can't go through this all day, but get an opportunity to do that, and you can call back, and I promise I will let you have it out with Roseanne.
I have done it.
Well, you know
Anthropologists
everything.
say-
I apologize for arguing with you, and good grief, my apologies.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Have a wonderful night.
Now, why do you have to go there?
What? I apologized. I apologize. What else do you want from me?
You are absolutely.
He knows everything. How ridiculous of me to argue with a black man about his knowledge of history. It's ridiculous.
Steve is in Andover. Hello, Steve.
Hey, good afternoon. Wow, that's going to be a tough one to follow there.
It can be. What do you got?
So, I don't know, like a week ago, it's funny the way you started out the program talking about the different types of listeners that you have. And you've got your, 4-hour a day, 5-day a week people.
Yes.
And then you got people like me who, because of our crazy lives and schedules and work and all this kind of stuff, like I'm an occasional listener only because that's how my life falls, not by choice. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So like a week ago, there was a conversation I tried to jump in on, but again, because of my life, I could only stay on hold about half an hour, and then I had to jump off. But you were talking about something about with Obama and his presidency, and I was going to bring up that one of the things that Obama did that really we're starting to see the effects of today was when he made that, to me, Obama's two most important comments that he made were, number one, when he said he was going to fundamentally change America.
Correct.
At the beginning of his term. Mm-hmm. And the second thing that I think lots of people completely overlook was when he said the most wonderful sound in the world is the sound of the Muslim call to prayer.
That's an actual quote from an article that he did with, wonder, it's not David Ignatius, but I do remember who it is. Oh, it was Christofi. Christofi of the New York Times, who wrote an article about Barack Obama. And in the article, he had talked about how sharp the creases in Barack Obama's suit pants was. But you're right. But Barack Obama says in that interview that the most beautiful sound to hear is the Muslim call to prayer.
And like I said, that coupled with his previous statement of fundamentally changing America, I think starts to lay some of the groundwork for what we're seeing today.
That is so spot on. If you were Sherlock Holmes, you couldn't be more closer to the target, my friend. It is that is a dissertation in making a connection in such, and it's funny because some people will say, "Oh, that's just coincidence," but how can it not be? How can it not be? Here was also the man who said in his book that when the chips fall down and the political winds shift, I choose the religion of my father.
Right, exactly. Yes. And I'm not going to get into all the nonsense about birth certificates and all that stuff. I don't give a fuck about that. At this point, that's irrelevant. What's irrelevant is the things that he did and the things that he said. And I think, like I said, we're starting to see some of that come to fruition now. And you can't tell me that his sort of hands throughout the Biden administration in orchestrating or marionetting some of the things that happened in that administration were, even though he deported, 3.5 to 4 million people, I think he realized that for him, the follow-on to those statements would have been much easier had, him behind the scenes marionetting Biden and allowing 15 to 20 million people into the country, knowing full well that there was going to be a ton of those Muslim refugees that would filter their way in, along with the 30 to 60,000 military-aged Chinese males that came in. Where are those people?
I'm not going to lie to you. One of the shocking things that Bill Melugin found out, I'll never forget when the reporting started to shift into that direction, was that this guy said at the southern border for so long, the demographics of people he was covering started to change. Then it was Haitians at the border, which of course prompted the whipping scandal that never was. And then he was finding Asian, military-aged men coming to the border. And then the reporting started going to finding prayer cloths at the border. And then that was, you're right, the demographic shifts were there. You know what? I'll go one step further with you on this, Steve, since you bring it up. Let's not forget probably the most egregious part of Barack Obama's campaign to, as you would put it, sort of introduce Islam to the American West was when he went on the famed apology tour.
Oh, God. Yes. Yes.
So,
absolutely.
And many people rejected that because remember that apology tour, as they framed it, happened in 2009, just 8 years.
After
September 11th.
And cheered in the streets while thousands of Americans died.
Yeah, so that was the reason why people found it so egregious that he did it.
Well, hang on, I'm going to disagree with you there. I don't think people pushed that away and poo-pooed it. I think there was a significant portion of the American public who voted for him, who are the same clowns that are running around protesting now, who supported that statement.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I'm not. No. My apologies. I totally agree with you there. You're 100% right on that. Okay. I'm just saying that the group of people who were angry about it immediately moved on from it afterwards. But I think it lends to your theory of how we got here step by step. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. This was incremental. This is boiling the frog.
Yeah. Boiling the frog. I like that.
Yeah, this is incrementalism at its worst.
Yeah,
absolutely,
indeed. Thank you. So I got to take a break, but thank you for calling. I'm sorry that you had to wait a week till you can address it, but thank you nonetheless.
All right, man. See you.
You got it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. We'll see if we can get a few more these phone calls in here before we get to the top of the hour. Stand by. It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Anyway, we'll get to a call in a second. We will also get to the Danbury racial profiling story in the next hour as well. Don't forget, always go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Also go to WTIC.com or wherever you get your podcast to check out the program. Like Steve there in Hanover said he can't always listen to the show, but when he can, he does, and you can never miss a minute. Ever. You have no excuse. Just go to WTIC.com. All right, and you can check out the podcast there, which we break it down. Right, we break it down like for you to take the show in portions, right? Which is great because if you don't want to listen to me, of course you can listen to Roseanne. Well, I know you're your favorite person. I try not to get jealous about it, but I'm not jealous. I'm just but
it's called Reese on the radio. You're just like
what was that matter?
I'm the apple pie. Remember? You might like the apple pie, but nobody's going, hey, where's that apple pie? Everybody's like, where's the guy who makes the pie so we can have more of the pie?
No, I don't make the pie. I just bring the pie.
Yeah, you're the bringer of said pie.
Let me get to one more.
It comes with great responsibility, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. What's going on, Doc? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I've been great, sir. You sound like you're far away. Where are you? Doc?
I had you on speaker.
Oh, okay. No problem. What's going on with you, sir?
Well, first of all, Roseanne.
Yes.
I adore you.
Thank you.
The way you stand your ground. And to the guy that you were arguing with, those of you who think you know everything are very annoying to those of us who do.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to assume I don't know everything, but I can see how it's very frustrating. I know it frustrates me when people who don't know what I know.
That's actually the greatest line ever.
You have no idea. Remember, I told you, sitting in class, and I'd be like, why do we have to still keep learning this? We learned it yesterday. Yeah.
Go ahead, Doc. What's going on?
Well, this whole thing with Obama and everything, my father, when Obama was doing the deportations, was saying, this is just a cover.
And
he said, you wait, we're gonna reap the rewards of this, or shall I say, the just desserts of this.
Mm-hmm.
And we are.
I think he did. I think you're right. I think he laid the groundwork for a lot of what we're experiencing today.
If you can look back and say, hey, look, I deported all these guys. It's not my fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and then you had his puppet in there, Biden.
Yeah. I love the way people call Biden his puppet. Like,
wasn't he, though?
It was I guess you can if the guy was completely incapacitated.
He was such a puppet, he never showed up.
Yeah.
Well, and I always called Obama.
Yeah, that's what I called him. I also called him the experiment. And that people didn't like that. You know why I called him the experiment, right?
Why?
Because everyone kept saying that the president had always been white guys. Why don't we give the black guy a try? So I said, okay, the experiment's over. In 2016, I said, the experiment's over now.
But I could think of so many more people of color.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. I couldn't agree with you more. Doc, I gotta go to a break soon, man. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call.
Take care.
You got it. We got to get our first check of traffic and weather.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
If we haven't mentioned it enough already, make sure you join myself and Roseanne on the radio at Hartford Turnpike in Vernon. We will be at the Between Rounds store from 2 to 6. We'll be broadcasting live there. Be a part of our studio audience. Come by and support Connecticut Food Share, who will also be there with a coupon for you to purchase a half price off a dozen bagels a month for 3 months. You can go there and get a coupon for that as well. Of course, you can support them in many other ways. But you could definitely support myself and Roseanne as we're there holding party, having the show there. Joey's going to be there as well. Roland will be here, unfortunately. Don't worry, we'll get him out to an event soon enough. I think we're going to do an event very soon at a sports bar that Roseanne and I like in the area. A sponsor of this station as well, Studio 15, which is such a great place. We have a lot of fun there.
Great mocktails.
Mocktails. Yeah, Roseanne's really a big fan of the mocktails there. And so we're going to do an event there really, really soon. We're just trying to figure out. They're doing the Super Bowl there with another.
I'm not allowed to say that word.
Oh, that's right. The big game. That's right. I'm not allowed to say
it. Great.
They're
now
doing
we're going to have to pay.
No, we don't.
No,
I corrected myself. We're doing a big game.
God, I can't take you anywhere.
Deal there. And so we're gonna watch it because do we even have the network that will be airing the big game?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care.
Yeah.
Listen, I want wings, I want truffle fries, and I want a mocktail.
That's it.
I don't care about anything else.
That's it. That's all. So we'll be doing that. I don't think there's anything else. Who do you got so far? Are you betting for this Super Bowl, Roland? I would imagine you are. How much are you allowed to bet? Like, for yourself, not because of your wife, how much are you allowed to bet? Like, do you have a limit?
I don't have a limit, but I don't really go crazy anyway.
You don't? What's crazy?
Crazy is
like a yard, a thou?
yeah, that would be crazy.
That's crazy.
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't.
500
I
too
work
high?
at a radio station, bro.
500 too high?
I don't do those big bets. My brother and my brother-in-law, they'll do those big bets, but I don't. When I went to pick up some of my winnings at the FanDuel Arena at Mohegan, and the guy before me, he was cashing out $13,000.
Damn.
But he was betting $2,000, $3,000, and I was like, man, that's a lot. And the guy was like, well, it depends on what person you are, if it's a lot or not, because they have people make 100,000, 200,000.
I bet they are
bets. So
how do you pay taxes on that?
I don't. You got to file them yourself.
Yeah, you got to do it yourself.
As I always say to those guys who win that money.
But if you got a business, you could get yourself around a lot of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise, it's like considered a prize, so it's like 50%.
I know.
Yeah.
I know who.
I won a couple things, and I was able to get around it. So.
I ain't hear that.
We'll talk.
Just let me hold $5. Anyway, Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. I know you don't gamble like that. When's the last time you ever gambled on anything serious? Like $5 on like a gentleman's bet, right?
Yeah, it's usually Super Bowl. I'll pick get a couple squares. That's about it. And
the squares thing, right?
Yeah, I do the Mega Millions and the Powerball. That's it.
Y'all gonna have to do my squares. I'm doing squares this year.
All right, there you go. All
right,
so that's kind of what I do.
You know what? You know what I just realized?
What?
You're both squares, both of you.
Well, yeah, no question about that.
I'm not doing that square thing.
And I'm a square trying to fit through a round hole, so it's even worse for me.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, Roseanne is here, and we are back. Jason says that Seattle is going to win it all, in my opinion. Jason, if Sam Darnold wasn't there, I would want Seattle to win, but I just don't. I'm so sick and tired of former Jets quarterbacks doing well once they leave.
I think it's going to be Denver Rams because that's the most
favored.
No, it's just like you got to put two teams together that you think people are going to watch the most.
And you think that? Well, I'm sorry. You believe that fans want to see the Rams,
the best defense, in the NFL, the Denver Broncos,
yes,
and the high-powered offense of the Rams and Puka Nacua and all them boys.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit Denver's had a real. I mean, I'm looking at this kid Nix, and I'm going, Nix who? Like this kid was awful last year. What happened? And apparently, this kid woke up. But I am not a fan of watching the IKEA bags, also known as the Los Angeles Rams. Have you seen their colors, sweetheart?
No.
It's the same colors as IKEA bags.
I gave up on football once the last game that we saw where
when you became a Dallas Cowboys fan.
I've always been a Cowboys fan.
That's when you gave up on football.
Says the Jets fan. Thank you. Anyway, that game that we were watching where there was like 3 seconds left and they couldn't.
Is that the same game where the guy got busted with his side piece?
Probably, yeah.
Yes, that was the game.
Yeah, that was it. When you can't move the ball until the ref comes over and puts his hand on it.
That's right. That was that game.
It's like, that is
that
stupid.
was the
done.
game.
I'm done. What are they going to start? They got to come over and burp each player between each play now and make sure their noses aren't dripping. Come on.
All right. Well, we promised to get into this topic. So apparently Danbury has what they're calling a racial profiling issue. Mm-hmm. And of course, the allegations are coming from a activist group that is trying to protect illegals in Danbury. Because for some odd reason, Danbury has become the epicenter for illegals. And I think this was the case from back in the 90s. There was a growing population of people from Central America and Mexico coming to the Brewster-Danbury region. And only reason why I know that is because I dated a girl who's from Danbury, now lives in New Milford, still lives there, has lived pretty much here for 20, 30 years now, about 20 years now.
I'm doing some math here and
What? What?
We'll talk
I'm
offline.
old.
No.
Anyway.
That's not what I'm talking about.
What, the ex-girlfriend?
There's seems to be some overlapping here.
Okay, we're not talking about that.
Okay.
Anyway. The bottom line is that she told me that population was growing. There were a lot of people from Central America coming into the Danbury and Brewster area. And of course, it is the epicenter when it comes to a lot of these arrests, if you will, in the region. I remember a famous line that said, somebody was arguing about the fact that in Harlem, there were per capita more black people arrested than other races in Harlem. To which the response was, well, of course, stupid. It's 90% black. So you're making an argument without stating what the overall population is. Like, you can't argue that if the police are arresting people, you really have to account for the population in that demographic if you're making a demographic argument. Which, again, this argument is ridiculous as well in Danbury because the people who are being arrested apparently are Hispanic. And two, what they're arguing, Roseanne, is that arresting these folks will only alert ICE because, as it turns out, most of the people who are committing these infractions turn out to be illegals. Is that the case we're finding here?
Well, although I appreciate your friendly wording, that is close.
Okay.
These organizations are crying foul because they're saying that police are racially profiling Latinos specifically with the intention of handing them over to ICE for Trump. Okay.
The local police that is, I guess, through the Trust Act, are not supposed to cooperate with federal officers.
Exactly.
And they're making the argument that indeed the local police is doing just that?
Right. They're pulling over Latinos at a higher rate specifically with the intention of handing them over to ICE. Alleged. That's what they're alleging.
Now, a lot of the arrests that you have been going into turn out to be very particular arrests.
Right.
Individuals that give us a breakdown of
Okay.
what you looked up.
So I want to start by saying that the Latino population of Danbury is 31%.
That's
right?
high.
So that's just under 30,000%.
Okay.
Of that 30,000 persons. Of that 30,000 persons, nearly 8,000 of them are foreign born. That's all it says. It doesn't say anything about legal status, just that 8,000 are foreign born.
Okay.
Now, last summer, between June, July, and August, ICE did a sweep across 32 counties or 32 locations, we'll say, because that's how they word it, in Connecticut. 32. Of those 32 locations that are consistently having ICE raids, in 2024, ICE arrested 247 illegal aliens. That was in 2024. In 2025, that number jumped up to 405. So not quite doubling. I'd say about 1.5. So of those 405 people in 32 locations in the city of Danbury, 25 people were arrested.
Okay, so only 25 in Danbury were arrested.
In 2025.
In 2025, which
In 3
again,
months.
the study that this group has done is for the year of 2025.
Right. They're alleging that
The 25 people.
They're alleging that that Latinos are being
Targeted,
pulled over, specifically with the intention of being handed over to ICE. However, only 25 people in Danbury of Latino descent have been arrested by ICE, detained by ICE, and the reason is 19 of them were actually were detained outside of a courthouse during the attempt to seek the legal system. That was the only.
Okay, so 19 of 26 were arrested at
25.
courthouse. Of 25 were arrested at courthouses.
Outside of a courthouse.
Wow.
After some sort of justice system interaction. Doesn't go into the specifics of what those actions were. And 6 of them were arrested in August. And yes, Connecticut does have the Trust Act, which prevents local law enforcement from engaging or assisting with DHS and ICE. Now, let me see.
Now, based upon that, what you're saying is that they did a study in 2025. You are looking at how many people in Danbury have been arrested, and that number only appears to be 25, and 19 out of the 25 were arrested outside of a courthouse, which then would beg the question, why would they consider it racial profiling? So that means that their theory is blown up.
Right. It gets better because...
well, I just want to play the explosion.
Load up.
That's all.
50%, which is about 13 of those arrests had pending criminal charges. 6 of them, which is 26%, 6 of them had already been convicted of a crime, and the remaining 6 had immigration violations. So of the 25 that were arrested, all of them were in some way involved in
criminal activity?
Criminal activity.
Just won't blow it up again. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Now,
one of which I do want to say that just in one sweep, some of them that were picked up
included
sex trafficking. They went into a house and they found a house full of underage children that were going to be sex
How many
trafficked.
people were in? How many men were in that house?
5 men.
5 men that they went into a house.
And one was illegal, or at least one was handed over to ICE or arrested by ICE.
One of them obviously was someone that ICE had to detain or needed to detain.
Right.
But the home they went into, there were 5 men in there, 4 of which were not on an ICE detainer or supposed to be removed by ICE.
That is an assumption that we can make.
Right. The assumption we can make is that they have at least had some form of legal status. Nonetheless, 5 men were involved in, or they found trafficking minors.
Trafficking children.
Exactly.
Then there was a guy who was arrested actually it was a female arrested for assault and attempting to evade arrest. And then a third one was domestic violence charges, I believe. I can't recall exactly. But these are not good people. These are not the type of people that you want in your neighborhood. Unless you're okay with, people kidnapping your children and selling them into sex industries, which is, I'm not going to say that out loud.
Okay.
I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
But some people, they're okay with this. And you know what? That's fine. Why don't you go live in their countries with them where it's okay to do these things?
It's interesting because a lot of these people who are here in Connecticut. By the way, you know that ICE raids are still taking place here in Connecticut. Yes. ICE is still active here in Connecticut.
Absolutely.
Yet you see none of the actions that people in Minneapolis are taking in ICE agents. So this idea that what's happening in Minneapolis is a larger sort of scale operation against ICE, that's not the case. They are not thwarting ICE in their duties here in the state of Connecticut.
Right.
But with that, I want to play this audio and video. People were asked in Minneapolis about if they were paying attention to the Somali fraud. White Mike called yesterday and said that they're ignoring, that this is an opportunity to ignore the Somali fraud. No one is ignoring it. The people who are out there think it's not happening.
How do you feel about the Somali fraud in Minneapolis?
I'll be honest, I haven't researched it a lot. But from what it looks like to me is it looks like it's a made-up concept from people trying to smear Governor Walz.
Now, did you hear what she said? She said she hadn't researched it a lot.
How do you feel about the Somali fraud in Minneapolis?
I'll be honest, I haven't researched it a lot.
I haven't researched it a lot.
What she's really saying is, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but it's not true.
But didn't research it a lot, still managed to come up with an opinion on the thing she hadn't researched a lot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But from what it looks like to me is it looks like it's a made-up concept from people trying to smear Governor Walz.
And it's a concept.
Sounds like a lot of an opinion there for somebody who knows nothing about it.
It's a concept. It's a thought process.
Here's another person that they asked about it, and he was actually pretty interesting.
Checked into that a little bit, right? There's nothing going on there. There's like this edgelord going around stirring up his mega conservative base, but none of this stuff is rooted in truth and reality. And I think if you just go out, do your own research, like actually do that. Like
this go it alone approach, doing your own research. It seems so innocent, but it can have serious consequences.
Yeah,
Dangerous.
Like the truth.
You can't have the masses knowing the truth. I will tell you that one of the earliest forms of this is religion. Like if you go all the way back to the time of ziggurats in Ur and Uruk.
What you call me?
Wow. So if you go back to the earliest civilizations in the world, Ur and Uruk, not Africa, by the way, the easiest way to control the masses was only the elite were able to contact and communicate with the gods, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how you keep people in check is you don't give them information. You tell them what you need them to know so that they know how to comply.
Indeed.
Go and just look at video evidence. Come to a realistic opinion about what's going on in the world. It's a scapegoat, right, for anti-Somali immigration hate.
I don't know much about the Somali fraud.
He says, I don't know much about the Somali probe.
But it's fake, right?
Sounds like bullshit.
So there's a question as to whether it is a fraud. I don't know. I'm not following that real closely. So I will reserve judgment on that.
I'm going to say it.
No, do not say it. Roseanne is going to say it. Do not say it. You're all going to want to know what she said. I'll put it to you this way. I will play the audio when we get to Between Rounds on Friday, and then you can tell everybody in the audience what you wanted to say when you heard that guy on this piece. I'll play it again.
I have a First Amendment right, darn it.
But not on these airwaves, you don't. I'm going to just play it one more time, and Roseanne will tell you personally what she was going to say.
There's a question as to whether it is a fraud. I don't know. I'm not following that real closely. So I will reserve judgment on that.
You're going to have to go to Between Rounds to find out what Roseanne said about that piece. Anyway, here's one last woman.
I mean, I think that they were just using this as an excuse to go in there and scare people and show that they can be really powerful. I don't think it's authentic at all.
Yeah, I don't think it's authentic at all. All of these people say, do your own research, find out what's really going on, and then saying, I haven't researched it, but I know it's phony. I know it's fake. When we come back, this is one that we have to play, so stand by for it. We played a little bit of what Joy Reid said on the Angela Yee podcast, but there was more to what Joy Reid said, and you are not going to want to miss it if you haven't heard it all the way. We'll break that down for you, so go nowhere. We'll also take your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. Let's get another check of the roads. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
Hey, now, we are back, and Let me take Sean in Meriden real quick. He's been on hold for a little bit, and thank you for being patient, Sean. How are you?
I don't mind listening. You guys are fantastic. And Roseanne, you impress me. The more I listen to you, and
Thank you.
that you have a process, that you were one way, and then you took the information, you processed it, and then you came up with a new conclusion, is a great model for people who want to use some common friggin' sense. It just blows me away. But one of the things that I really was concerned about, and it's a question, is the judge stopped President Trump from stopping payments for fraud. So my question is, when did fraud suddenly become a constitutional right?
Indeed. Couldn't agree with you more. Probably because the judge is suggesting that the fraud doesn't exist, that it's only a theory of fraud.
Judge is on the take.
Yeah. But it's the theory, but that's what it is. That's what the judge is using as it's in the ruling. Is in essence, it's a theory of fraud that is unproven. We know that what the nonsense is, that this is judge shopping at its worst. Right, and a judge with his, its own TDS sort of thwarting the administration as it does.
Okay, but let's conservatively, I accept that, but conservatively, they said 1,000 people, employees in the state of Minnesota have been warning about this fraud. So, number one, why would you risk your job? Let's take that 1,000 and throw it away, and let's go conservatively. 250 people in the system come forward and say, we believe there's fraud going on, and you had TSA agents in inspecting luggage leaving Minnesota open it and just see friggin' cash.
Yeah. That story has, you know what? And that story should have been everywhere instead of a place like Just the News with John Solomon. That story should have been everywhere. And it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Millions. Okay.
Well, it's millions altogether.
Actually billions.
No, it's millions. It's millions that were in the suitcase, but each encounter was thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I saw one story that they did back in 2007 where they were, the day that this particular news outlet was at the TSA, they stopped one man who had a carry-on with $1 million in it, which you're allowed to do, but you have to fill out a form.
Right.
And it was on his way to Somalia.
And here's a part, and I'll end on this and listen to you guys. I owe taxes. You can fine me for $1,500.
Sure can.
Don't tell me you can't fine $9 billion.
Yeah, somebody wrote that on a meme. Sean, this is such a great point. Someone wrote a meme on Facebook that said, we're looking at people who have a problem with us uncovering the Somali fraud, but didn't blink an eye when the Biden administration wanted me to account for $600 in a Venmo payment. That I had to declare with the IRS.
It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
And anybody on the left that you want to say this, okay, do not let me come close to you. Because as soon as you open your mouth and say something stupid, I will pull a tuna out of the back of my car and slap you silly.
Don't do no violence. No violence, Sean. God bless you, man.
I'm not. It's only a fish. It's really not a fish because I think it's a feather. Because I can get in their reality. It's not.
Thank
it
you.
Identifies as a feather, okay?
Goodbye.
Yes,
Thank
exactly.
You.
He does.
Thank you, Sean. Get out of here. Let's take a break. Let's get to some traffic and weather. Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we are back. And I'm going to take the full weight of what I'm about to say. I do not want you co-signing.
Okay.
All right? Just because it's my show, I'm on the marquee, and I have to defend what I'm about to say.
Okay.
All things considered with Leroy's phone call today. Leroy, I'm sorry, buddy, but this one's for you. I cannot trust black liberals. I can't. And here's why. They lie. an awful lot. And I can't trust them to tell the truth. What I'm about to say next is truthful, yet controversial, but not for the sake of being. It just is. African Americans know, bar none, they will tell you, bar none, they have no political power. They know. That's the reason why they fight for it every day. They have no power. They are constantly demeaned. They are subjugated. In some cases, they are ignored. And they fight for some level of prominence or existence or even consideration in the political sphere. Some of that is due to their own inaction, inability to engage, not care, don't vote, don't believe in the process, whatever it may be. But they have no power. These are their own words. These are not mine. These are their words in these communities. So who does in the Democrat diaspora of African Americans? White folks. White people have the power. Hakeem Jeffries notwithstanding. The Timu Obama. But he is not the power. Nancy Pelosi is his overlord, as is Chuck Schumer. Ask Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of House Democrats, about Chuck Schumer's leadership. Go look it up online when he was asked just a couple of months ago. You saw that boy dancing, tap dancing all over the place because he couldn't answer the question. Why? Because he answers to the white man, as many liberals do in the black community. It is a fact. So when I call the NAACP, the Urban League, Black Lives Matter, all of them, when I call them the real Toms, the House Negroes, it's because they answer to the powerful white elites of their party. They do what they tell them to do. Go find yourself an African American who publicly denounces men in females' spaces. Find him. Find me the prominent African American of any political power, weight, or prestige. Wasn't the most powerful black man who was president of the United States, Barack Obama, just on his wife podcast saying that every man should have a gay person in their life so they can know what it was like to be a man. Yes, it was. So whom do they answer to? Their white overlords. It's just a fact. Roseanne, do you need to take that? Okay. That's who they answer to. And that's a fact. Because, again, ask them, they will tell you. They have no power. Blacks have no power politically. So where do they get their marching orders from? They get their marching orders from white people. Now, sure, they'll go on television shows and say all that, white people this and white people that, and white folks say nothing. You know why? Because they know they have no power. They know. Yeah. Do your thing. Do your thing, sister girl. Yeah, you're right. White power needs to be, squashed and the whole 9 yards. But we're still in charge. You know that? Yeah, sure. We'll give you a couple of crumbs here and there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want some power? Yeah, here you go. Give you a little bit of power. Don't get too uppity. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. You start stepping out of the lines. You start coloring outside the lines. We'll get rid of you. Ask Jamal Bowman. Huh? Ask Cori Bush. Where are they? Bye-bye. All gone. Jasmine Crockett, too. Let her say something a little off color. They'll get rid of her, too, when she's no longer useful. You notice she never talks any smack about her white overlords. Never seen her come down on Nancy Pelosi, have you? Have you? You ever see her come down on Chuck Schumer? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, because they know who's in charge. Now, that being said, I want you to listen to this, because it is true, and it is a fact, that these people answer to white folks. Joy Reid, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, we played this audio.
This woman was part of a group of people who they train to try to be ICE interrupters.
Mm-hmm.
And what they try to do is observe what ICE is doing, film them, and try to use their white privilege, to be honest. They're mainly white people.
Which is what we ask.
Which is what we ask them to do, right? Because black people, like, we can't put our bodies on the line because cops will shoot us. And so the presumption had been, particularly a white woman, because remember, part of the rationale for doing this with ICE is to save white women, pristine white women, from being ravaged by, criminal brown men. So white women, have been taking the lead in being the ones to step forward and challenge ICE and to say, as white people, we can step to ICE and step to police in a different way.
That's right. But now, one white woman has been shot and killed, Joy Reid, which kind of dispels what you're saying, but not entirely. Now, everybody was playing that clip yesterday. What I found crazy is that they didn't play the rest of it, because Joy Reid went on to say this.
In this case, this white woman and her wife, who's also a white woman, were driving in an SUV. They parked to try to block ICE from snatching people out of a suburban neighborhood. This was not like on the mean streets in Minneapolis. This was in a suburb.
Yeah,
with,
the neighbor
houses.
was a doctor.
The neighbor's a doctor. This is a quiet white suburb. So they're driving and they park. The ICE agents come up to the car. They get out of the car and to shorten it, they bang on her door and tell her, get out of the car. They order her to get out of the car. She panics and starts to back up to get away. And one of the ICE officers, Jonathan Ross, shot 3 times into the car, shot her in the face and killed her.
Now, why can't I trust black liberals? Because you lie for white people. You just lying for massa. That white lady ain't do nothing wrong. She just backed up her car, and the ICE agents just shot her when she backed up the car. She shot her. They shot her when she backed up the car. He reached in and he shot her. They killed that white lady. They killed Mammy. That's exactly what she said. I can't trust you, Negroes. The way you lie on white people, or what, lie for them. Everybody knows that that's not what happened. Why is Joy Reid, one of the most prominent podcasters, news people in the world, on TV, lying on that white woman? Lying about what happened? Why would she lie? She ain't taking no brothers or no sisters. She went on to talk about the reason why those white women were there is because they interact differently with ICE, because we can't put ourselves on the line because they kill us. And then the white woman went out there to do our bidding because they know that we can't. Tell me you are not a step and fetch it without telling me you're a step and fetch it.
The reason I think this is significant and is different from the previous shootings is, to me, this is a George Floyd moment.
Mm-hmm. And not far from
where that happened, right? 6 years later. And the reason I think it's a George Floyd moment is that George Floyd answered the question, are black people making it up when we say cops can just kill us and will, right? We saw a police officer with people filming him was willing to kill George Floyd in front of a crowd on camera. In this case, I think it's a George Floyd moment because this is one of those moments when somebody who's supposed to be safe with law enforcement, a white woman, a Christian, a mom, she had just dropped her kid off, her 6-year-old off at school, who's doing all the right things. She is a citizen. This is not a question of her being an undocumented immigrant.
It didn't feel like ICE agents were in danger of their lives in any way. They could easily have moved out of the way.
Easily. Right. And did move out of the way. And walked away, no injuries.
I'm sorry, what? There were no injuries, Joy Reid? Nobody was injured?
And I understand you have new reporting on the ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good in Minneapolis last week. What can you tell us about that?
That's right. So CBS News has heard from several officials that that agent, Jonathan Ross, suffered internal bleeding. We've tried to get clarification, exactly the extent of his injuries, and try and learn a bit more about that. Of course, that has become deeply politicized, both here in Minnesota and across the country.
Now, why are you lying? Why are you lying for that white woman? Joy Reid? Why? It gets better.
The chief of police in Minneapolis said no one was injured except the woman who was dead. None of those men were injured. And it was that moment where you realize nobody's safe.
Yeah.
White women aren't safe. They'll kill them too.
I can't trust you. You will lie and you will lie. I'm sorry. And what's it for? Why are you lying? Just ask yourself a question. Why would you lie? Why do you lie about statistics? Why do you lie about history? Why do you lie about things that we know are facts? Why? Who are you protecting? It ain't you. I think you're protecting Massa. I know you're protecting Massa. Who else you got? Who gives you all the goodies? Huh? Who else is going to give you that hog maws? Huh? Who else going to give you them chitlins? Huh? Who else going to give you them reparations? Them little pennies? Them scraps? Who going to let you eat the grizzle off the chicken wings? Huh? Who? I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt. Don't care. I'm saying it to hurt your feelings because I know you're emotional. I know you're emotional. I say it to make you mad. I say it to make you call my bosses. I say it because I know you're gonna. I know you get riled up. You get sweaty right now. Them beads of sweat going down your neck. Getting real angry. I know. I ain't here to make you feel good. I'm not here trying to placate you. I know. Massa do that good for you, don't you? It ain't your fault. It's just the way you were born, the way you were raised. That's what they tell you. Can't be civilized. It's just not in your nature. What are they like? I know because this is the way you talk about me, right? But I have no overlords. I have none. They could fire me. They can expel me all they want. I have no overlords. I got nobody lining my pockets. I ain't begging nobody for no reparations. I ain't begging nobody for no scraps. I'll get down on the street and hustle if I got to. A lot of you do. Ain't to say all of you are just running around bumming. But I ain't lying for nobody. I damn sure ain't lying for these folks. They're the ones who put you out of sorts. They're the ones who keep you in poverty. They're the ones who keep you begging. No one likes a beggar. No one. I damn sure don't. And I don't want to be a part of it. So, gather your feelings. Okay? Dust yourself off. Wipe off the sweat. That's okay. I'm going to teach you how it's really, really done. That's all. It's going to happen. It's going to happen one way or another. Or you could just call Massa. I know you will. I know you will. What choice do you have? Because, again, as I said, you have no power. But you want to get some? Follow me. If it's all that important to you, follow me. Because ask yourself, how long's it been, ladies and gentlemen? How long's it been? Huh? You've been following these people, lying for these people, telling their lies over and over again, doing their bidding, lying about genetics, lying about biology, lying about what a man is and a woman is. You can't even define it anymore. You've allowed women to take over your household. A man doesn't even run the household anymore. You did everything that they told you to do, and for what? So you can take their pennies. And the only thing you ever wanted was power. All you ever wanted was your family back. Well, you did that for 60, 70 years. How about we try something different? Just saying. Tell your friends. Now, let's get another check of traffic and weather. We'll be back after this. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. Roseanne says that her facial expressions have no inside voice.
My face has no inside voice, and you know this. My face will tell you what my mind is thinking, even though my mouth is closed.
Your response... Your face, I was just going back looking at the video, and you are all over the place. You're right. Maybe I should have warned you.
Warn me, or at least turn the camera off. My mic, my camera, everything. Just turn it off.
Melody says, great rant, Reese, but just warn Roseanne when you decide to rant. Danielle said, thank you. Wow, Reese, what a sermon. Keeping it real. Thank you. And Doc Holliday, thank you so much. Said, I get this a lot from a lot of people. That's just like, well, why do you bring up the racial stuff? That's not on me, man. I didn't start it, but I plan on finishing it. That's just the way that's the way it goes.
It's the Chicago way.
It is the Chicago way.
Guy brought
bring a knife, bring a gun.
He brought brass knuckles, and you just.
I bring bazookas.
You nuked the poor guy.
I just know. It's just because I am so sick and tired of people lying to me all the time for the sake of victimhood. It's annoying. And, I used to have this argument all the time where somebody used to talk about, Jesus was black. And I'm going.
No, he wasn't. He was Jewish.
But there's like, he was black. And I'm going, and the reason why that is, and I'll tell you, and it's as simple as that, and it's so nefarious, right? It's so underhanded that the argument that Jesus was black is just for one reason. And it's just to say that because Jesus was black, well, that means that every black person has a little bit of Jesus in them, right? And that's what it's about, sort of pointing it out.
It's a terrible joke in that.
It's a terrible joke in that. But that's what the purpose of saying that is. It's like pointing it out and just being absolutely like so diehard about Jesus was black. And I'm just like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you are now like just like Jesus. It's like you're trying to find some lineage like in your skin color.
Your dinner was a cow.
Yeah,
Does that make you a cow?
Yeah, it's really, really like there's some association. And just knock it off, right? It doesn't help your argument, in any way. And I just hate that. If you're going to make it racial, fine. Let's make it racial. Right? If you want to go there, let's go there.
But just don't do it with me so close. Although I enjoyed the diatribe.
Yes, but you just can't.
Just take me off camera.
Yeah, no problem. I'll do that. It's okay. Anyway, we'll be back. More news, more views. We got plenty of stuff to get into. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home because I know you're in the car. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Your camera is clearer than my camera for some reason. I got to figure that out. And your camera is incredibly clear. I got to figure that out somehow. Are you still shy now?
No.
Okay.
I'm.
You doing research?
Am I allowed to? No. If I told you what I was doing right now, you'd probably be annoyed.
Are you going over numbers?
No. I'm editing pictures that I took at one of the missions in San Antonio because I just found out I can delete certain things out of my pictures. So.
Okay.
I'm trying to cope with what I just experienced.
Don't worry about it.
I know
it
wasn't
okay.
aimed at me, but I feel
matter.
bad.
It's all right. Look, it's a brand new day. It's a whole new day. Let me take this real quick. Bill in Granby has been on the hold for a while. Thank you, Bill, for standing by. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. Another great show. I just wanted to call in and chime in about these fourth wave liberal feminists that we're watching melt down all over the country. It's, I'm 63, so I was 10 years younger than the actual hippies that then trained all these fourth waivers, right?
Wow.
So it's just interesting to see you've got all these hippies that were professors at the universities that indoctrinated over the course of, several decades.
Sure.
They indoctrinated the fourth waivers. And now when you look at the protests, it's all fourth wave white liberal women that are like 70 and 80 years old. And then you've got all these proteges like the woman that just got herself killed. And they're on the wrong side of every issue.
Right.
If you look at the real feminists in Iran, and what the women in Iran, the courage that they have, and other places around the country where, in the UK and in Ireland, where Islam is being rejected by Christian nations as it has been for thousands of years because they're incompatible. These feminists are on the wrong side of every issue. They never speak up when the real feminists are involved. And, I saw Nixon go down. I saw the Vietnam War. My cousins were 10 years older than me for that war.
Wow.
So I've been around a long time and have seen a lot. And I was old enough to remember when the Shah of Iran was deposed, and now here we are full circle where they want the Shah back, right?
Right.
So it's just interesting to see men forever have shed the blood, and then in Iran, these courageous women fill the vacuum. The men shed the blood and lose their lives and overturn the government without any arms in a lot of cases, and then these courageous women that want freedom take off their burqas, and in the meantime, the liberal women in the U.S., the feminists, the proclaimed feminists in the U.S. are completely silent. They have nothing to say about the courage of the women in Iran who are the real feminists. The whole thing is just a fraud, and I've seen it. I'm 63. I've seen it my entire life. The 19th Amendment is the biggest mistake that the United States ever made. It just is.
Wow.
We've had this experiment, and we've given liberal white women. Men built society. They built everything on the planet, and they maintain it. And we turned it all over willingly to women and gave them the right to vote, and we let them take charge of society.
Well,
and they're just.
I'm going to address that after you're done, but you bring up a very, very good point. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but I want to thank you. I want to get to the rest of the topic today, but thank you, Bill. I appreciate you holding on. I want to at least get some airtime because you held on for so long, and I thank you for that.
Thanks, Reese.
You got it, sir. Okay, the 19th Amendment is just something that I know that it's just a powder keg, and if I can admit anything, I know that one day you and I are going to have that conversation about the 19th Amendment.
I'm surprised that we stand on on opposite sides. I'm convinced we're on opposite sides.
Okay, then we'll talk about it at another time. I think that we need to.
I don't know.
I think that you and I need
to. No, this is very anti-feminist, right? And I am a feminist. I want to be given the same opportunities that are afforded men. I want to be able to make my own medical decisions. I want to be able to have my own bank account. These are things that women were not allowed to have, right?
Okay.
But the right to vote, I think, it's essential, right? I really think there has to be like an IQ test. I do. I think there has to be an IQ test, I think. And this goes across the spectrum, not just women. You have to be able to at least have a certain IQ. You have to be able to read at a certain proficiency. There should be things in place before you're granted the ability to cast a vote, because
so that people cannot weaponize the vote.
Well, not only that, but I was just thinking too, like when you're giving out voter registration at the DMV, voter registration should really be attached to a social security number given at birth.
Good point.
I don't think it should be activated until one day after the 18th birthday of the individual born in the United States. That's one sure way to do it.
Really, really great point.
Right? But the other thing is, not everybody should be granted the luxury of voting. There are some people that just lack the intellectual capacity to understand what is being put in front of them. Other people lack the ability to just do basic research. I saw on TikTok that, she does this thing. So, yeah, it's so many of them. Totally, come on. Because they saw her say that the children of the community are the children of the community, and that was deep and profound to these people. There has to be stops in
Purity
place.
test. No, I'm kidding.
There have to be stops in place that prevent just any freaking moron from picking up a pen and voting. It shouldn't be granted to everybody.
I think, okay, I didn't know what your position was on this. It wasn't the direction I want to go on, but since, was it, who was it in Granby? I forget his name all of a sudden. I want, okay, I guess I have to address it. I get what you're saying, and I can appreciate the point of view that guys like you, White Mike has this. A lot of people are saying.
Doesn't Adam have the same
I think Adam?
12. Yeah, we were talking about
in fact,
it.
Adam 12 shares it as well. Shares this idea.
And I think it's great that men can have an opinion.
Thanks.
It's great.
But here's what my point is about this, and this is probably, I didn't know that that's how you felt about it, at least like having some sort of like cognitive test to a degree on the issues. I get it. And I like your idea about associating with the Social Security number.
At birth.
At birth, you're right. And then saying, of course, this is following somebody when they're till they're 18 years old. That is guaranteed when you get a Social Security number. So actually really, really brilliant idea. But that being said, here's the reason why I stand against the idea of limiting access to voting, even if the person is a complete denuntunut. And the reason why I'm saying that I'm opposed to it is because I believe that it is our job to inspire or at least win hearts and minds when it comes to voting. I know that there are people who are going to vote just based upon the letters behind individuals' names. I cannot control that any more than I can control anyone else who decides to drink and drive or anyone who decides to take drugs. I don't like that they do. I think it's irresponsible that they do. But there's something about me, not even just the constitutionality of it, but I think just the liberty of individuals to be able to vote is just one of those things that I just don't want to screw around with. But saying that because this person is only going to vote on ideological reasons, because it lends the idea that we as a country have not inspired people to think and to choose in a rational way. I think that in some way I'm imposing my belief system on what I believe other people to be or their intentions.
So let's put it like this. What is the population percentage that actually vote of the legal of age individuals that do vote? I'm not talking about registered voters. How many people actually 18 plus go out and vote?
If we were to look at the last election, I would say, what did we get? 75 to 73 million. So we're looking at 150, maybe 300. 150 to 170 million people vote in this country.
Out of a population of
350.
So that's like 50, let's be generous, 50% of people that are legally able to vote in this country.
Yeah.
50% of them
At
vote.
least, yeah.
Why not make it something that if you really want to do it, you have to put in the effort. If you want a job, you have to put in the effort. If you want a car or a driver's license, you have to put in the effort. Everything that we do in this country used to be and should still be requiring some level of effort. Going down and saying, I'm 18, I'm here to get my state ID and the right to vote. What effort is that? You need a license to go fishing. You need a license to go hunting. You need a license to cut hair. There's effort involved in everything except ensuring the stability and functionality of our nation. Any idiot can
Would
walk
you
in
go
and do
so
it.
far as to put the right to vote on the same level that people will make you jump through hoops to get a gun permit?
Why not?
Okay, so you would put it at that
Why
level
not?
of scrutiny.
Why not? You have to be able to show that you're not mentally unstable. You have to be able to show that there is some level of living stability, right? You have to be able to show that you are intellectually capable of processing certain information. There has to be a certain level of give a crap about my country. Hell, it's so hard to get citizenship once you're here. Why don't we just make it a civics test? You want to vote? You want the right to vote? You got to pass a civics test. Why not?
Not that you're not making a good argument. I don't really have a debate here. I'll be honest with you. I am looking at this as I've always believed that the right.
If you receive welfare, you should not be allowed to vote.
I'm sorry. If you what?
If you receive welfare, you should not be allowed to vote.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you. No. I'm a
little.
I'm 50-50.
If you have to choose between the guy who's $100 or get a job, which guy are you going to vote for?
More than likely, you're going to vote for
always the guy giving you free crap.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean,
you're biased already.
Don't look. Don't get me wrong. I'm really not pushing back on you on that one because you're right. So in essence,
it's an ugly truth. But
no, it is. It is an ugly truth because in essence, That's kind of like when I was talking to Aaron Stewart yesterday, right? Part of the problem with Republicans in the state is that they can't make any inroads in the inner city, which again are the poorest in the state. So Hartford, Bridgeport, New Haven, those areas, Waterbury, wherever it is, those regions, if they do vote, is more than likely going to vote for Santa Claus than they are for the candidate who's going to say, I'm going to give you job opportunities and I'm going to lower your taxes. Those people it doesn't resonate with them. But you're right. If you are on the dole, in essence, you're
biased.
Now, but it's not just because it's on the voter. It is now on the candidate, government. Right, on the candidate themselves, because now they can't just say, I'm going to give away the farm in order to get your vote.
Exactly.
So I get your point there.
So, yeah, I don't think it should be – I don't think that the 19th Amendment itself granting women the right to vote, I think the problem is that we've just given it to everybody carte blanche because, you know, you have a driver's license. And that's what we're finding in this country is you get it. You got welfare and a driver's license? Hell, here's the right to vote, you know? I served my country.
I would, like I said,
I was a military brat. I was a military wife. I served the military. My kids going in the military. Like I think I have at a minimum earned the right to vote in this country. And I think everybody should be required to sacrifice a little bit more of their time, their mental capacity, freaking employability. Like these are things that should be a bare minimum to require voting. Now, I will say the only thing that I'm starting to feel like this could compare to is only rich white men who own property. Right, I got it. But that's not the same thing.
No, you're not saying the same thing. Because you believe that, if I'm hearing you right, that there should be a level of equity or sweat equity in that.
You have to earn it.
Yeah, in essence, like you, as a contributing member of society, you should be allowed to vote. But if you are living on the dole, everyone knows which way you're going to vote.
You have to want it enough to earn it.
Yeah, and I know that I can't, as you know, if I'm a Republican candidate, I can talk to you to your ears bleed. You're never going to vote for anything opposed to the dole.
You go raise the EBT limits? Nah.
No.
That dude said he was. I'm going that way.
Yeah. So.
You going to take away this 2 hours a week that I have to work? No. That dude said he would.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation.
So, yeah.
I know that a lot of people are going to call in about that. But, no. I just think, to be honest with you, you are.
I make a lot of sense.
You do. You make a lot of sense. I can't even. I'm listening to it. I'm just going, okay, I hear where she's coming from. Not that it's ever going to happen, because I think that, the horse is out of the gate, right? I think that's where we are. But it is a compelling point of view. Because you're not just saying women, you're saying anybody, for that matter.
Just
people. Okay. Please send your comments to. No, I'm kidding. We'll be back. More news, more views, and then we'll wrap this up. And, of course, we'll take the final phone calls of the show. Let's get you home. Mark Christopher, he's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
We're back. Reese on the radio, Roseanne on the radio. Pretty much getting ready to wrap things up. We'll get another check of traffic and weather in another 3 minutes. Roseanne, so a lot of people are agreeing with you in the chat room.
Wow.
And what are you wowing about?
My opinion is not usually popular.
When have you ever really given your opinion on a forum like this?
That is a valid point. Valid point, sir.
Well, I think it's thought out. I mean, when you stump me, and I don't think you and I are having a disagreement in a sense of I have a point of view on this, you have a point of view, and I can listen to your point of view and kind of say, yeah, I can't really argue with that. Even though I want people to have the constitutional right to vote, I can't make an argument against how you lay it out, saying that it is an important thing that we have a right to do, but it cannot be made available to people who, in essence, well, in the sense of cannot be swayed. The objective of voting is that the candidate must present a plan or an idea that's supposed to encourage you to vote. But if it's literally just saying that the masses are going to go with the guy who gives you the freest of stuff, then that's not really a fight. That's not really an exchange of ideas or a competitive sense of ideas.
Isn't it illegal to buy votes?
It technically is, but if you are running a platform that says we are going to make as you've heard, we're going to make the rich pay their fair share, which, by the way, brilliant on Donald Trump for co-opting that. Co-opting that phrase when he's talking about foreigners. He won't stop saying it. In fact, it's gotten to the bad where you don't even hear Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders using it anymore. But
he's got to use the word oligarchy now.
Yeah. But I can't debate with you on this because you're 100% right. If we're looking at politics in the here and now, if we know that we have a politics that is creating more and more of a gap between the have and have-nots, which is the essential to us as a country right now. That's the divide.
Right.
I know that sure. Are there racial divides? Certainly there are. Are there societal divides? Yes, of course there are. But the one divide that everyone identifies with, it's the wealth gap, and that one really, really ruminates.
I don't know that everybody can agree with that one. I firmly believe that you are entitled to what you have earned.
Yeah, no, I agree there. But I'm just saying that wealth gap is a lot of things that sort of motivates that voting base, so to speak. Right. And people know it. They can make.
With the boy and his lot.
Exactly.
Right? Billionaires shouldn't exist. Why not?
Yeah.
What's wrong with the billionaire? Oh, well, slave labor. Have an idea and then sell it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. I know you're on the roads, and Mark Christopher is getting you home. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey! What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we are live. Getting ready to get up out of here. We'll get to your phone calls real quick. I see your brother is in the chat room there. He is back. Craig said, did the weather woman just say Avon? Yes, she did. I heard that. I said, you guys would never let me get away with that. So, yes, I did hear that, and you did hear it, too.
Oh. I can check my hair now.
Oh, look at you. Ugh, so vain. Like I said, a lot of people agreeing with you in the chat room. Speaking of which, let's get to some phone calls and get through them. Dave is in Brantford. How are you, Dave?
Yeah, I do all right. Look, it's hard to get through. I think I want to rephrase what Roseanne said. I think she thinks we need a better quality of electorate, and everyone is so consumed with the better quality for the candidates. And so one by one, I may disagree with her point, but the larger part is we need a more alert, engaged electorate that does, is more interested in individualism and not so much Me Tooism.
What do you say? What do you say to the idea that there is a degree of a divide with people who are voting for the gimmies as opposed to people who are voting for the policies of the candidate?
I think, Reese, when you have a voter sign-up drive and you're giving away free diapers for adults and sanitary products for the women, is that bribing a vote?
Yeah.
When you're trying to select a slice of who shows up to sign up.
Yeah.
And it absolutely is, but we don't have a Secretary of State who says that's like an illegal contribution to get a selected portion of the electorate. And so I come down on, we talked about the 19th Amendment, which was kind of a joke. I think the 21st Amendment, which lowered the voting age to 18, the original Constitution had it at 21. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a much more appropriate age to get all this socialism, petri dish out of the university stuff. Those people are just insane.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Listen, a couple things, if I haven't.
Go.
Aaron Stewart interview. You have so many topics. The audience never really gets to comment on them. I thought Aaron Stewart and you did a very good job in presenting her as an earthy, plain-spoken candidate that I greatly enjoyed. I am more like a Rob Sampson, a hard-bitten right-winger.
Yeah,
However,
sure.
I am more interested in electing a Republican to get rid of the one-party state.
Right.
It's the biggest problem with Connecticut. And so Aaron Stewart is acceptable to me, and I think Fazio would be an excellent lieutenant governor with, as the callers discussed, has connections to the legislation. We don't need somebody divorced and indifferent to how the people that are up there. And I think Betsy McCoy, I continue to think, because of her theoretical ideas, would be a great Secretary of State, to influence the election laws, the marriage laws, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A little bit, I want to say, you don't like the best of the year that we just finished. I thought your single best hour was when Fred McKinney, the black radical professor from Quinnipiac, who wrote a ridiculous editorial, and you invited him onto the show, and he took the bait, and you reeled him in like you were fishing. And he got madder and madder and madder, and it culminated in his calling you the N-word. You said three times. That was a really exciting interview. That unfortunately, you don't rerun your stuff. That was like my favorite show of last year. And there, one more thing, maybe a little information on where is our buddy Tom Feinberg, Todd Feinberg. How is he alive and well? Stuff like that.
I will. I will soon. As soon as I can find out, I will let everybody know how he's doing, because I know people still ask. I get it all the time.
One more quick thing. We spent a lot of time on the environmental concerns of the DQuat and the hydrilla problem.
Not over.
The science. And I would think at this point, a good story on who moved the chemical over to the Aquathol. And I know you had the story about the box of it that fell off the boat.
That's
into
right.
The water, to say, oh, my God, there's morons applying this stuff. And something that might be important, what was the result? Did they actually get rid of the hydrilla in that cove off the Connecticut River?
That is
was it a failure?
That is a great question. In fact, that is a follow-up that we're going to do this spring. To find out what the conditions of that cove, the Selden Cove, is since they put the Aquathol there. So, yeah, thank you. Both of those stories we had definitely not let up on yet.
I'm all done. Voting age back to 21.
That's you got it, Dave. Thank you. Let's go to another Dave in Windsor on hold. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm all right, sir. What do you got?
Hey, listen, don't ask me to die for my country when I got drafted at 19 back in 1969 and not be able to vote.
Okay. It's not. I think he's saying when it changed to 18 so that it could accommodate liberalism through the college ranks. I don't think, of course, if you're in the military, I would totally make an exception for somebody who.
I think I agree that if you have enlisted, if you've been drafted, if you are in the military, 18 and up, you have more than earned the right to have a voice in this country.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, you talk about serving to be able to vote, not necessarily vote, but be involved.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right, to have a say. I think that you have got more skin in the game than most.
All right. Well, I agree with Jesse Ventura. Look at Trump. Not only that, his kids didn't serve. And from many phone calls, I'm not a fan of that guy. Never have been, never will be, and it goes back to the 80s. Got nothing to do with him.
Would Kamala have been a better choice?
Yeah, in my opinion, yes. Look at the state.
No. Come on, Dave. You can't. I want to trust you on this one.
The children of the community are the children.
I want to trust you. I want to trust that you're being honest here. Kamala Harris is a better choice than Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump had served in that office.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think we'd be.
That's another Obama puppet.
We can agree to disagree.
No. And did you hear me? I'm not casting any aspersions on it. I asked you really and plainly, are you serious? Do you really believe that she would be a better candidate than Donald Trump? Okay.
I do. I'm sorry again. I'm never a MAGA.
That's okay.
That have gone on, the things that I've seen, and I've been around a long time. Like I said, way back.
Well, Dave, when you can
drafting in '69,
Dave, when you can listen to me real quick. When you can call earlier in the show, I want to spend a little time with you to sort of break down that comparison between the two, if you can, because I'd love to have that conversation with you.
I'd be happy to. Now, listen, I caught earlier the Aaron Stewart interview
yesterday.
And I'd like to ask. I'd like to have you ask her next time she's on. You know, everybody's bringing up this lower energy, lower electricity, and I couldn't agree more. But I could tell you, as I mentioned before, this goes back to the late 90s when Roland was in power, when Roland was the governor, and they went to privatize the electric industry. And that is the bane of our problems right now, and it will be. And until somebody can figure out.
So you want a federal? Do you want a state ownership of the utilities?
I said if you look at Norwich Utility, if you look at Holyoke, you look at the public utilities, just like there used to be the public utilities, not arbitraged electricity, not privatizing this, where they promised everybody electric rates were going to go down into just the opposite. I knew that was never going to happen. Back in the day of when there were they're named public utilities for a reason, because it benefits the public. There's no profit in it.
But today, that isn't. If you really think at where Eversource is right now, you're talking about the privatization of a utility. It isn't private if we have a public benefits charge that goes to the coffers of government. So it's kind of a private-public hybrid in that case. And that's why we have the higher rates, which is fair to say, right?
Well, no, it's the transmission rates. It's everything else.
No, I don't have an argument. No, you're right about the transmission rates. All of those, they seem like ridiculous rates. But what is the public benefits charge for, and who does it go to? That is that's because if it were government run, and if it would be, imagine how much that benefits charge would be.
It wasn't government run before when it was a public utility. It wasn't government run. It was a non-profit. Utilities ran. They were regulated. You got your per kilowatt hour charge, and that was it. And utilities had their crews. I mean, it was a well-run system. There was no reason to change it. In every state that has public utilities, their electricity rates are way cheaper than what they are in states that are privately run.
I will check. You know what? I'll check those numbers, and you know what? If indeed is true, then I will back it. I will back it, but I'm going to look it up, because in that case, if we're comparing the two, I can kind of agree with the privatization of it. But if I'm wrong on that, I'm willing to cede that ground.
I'll give you one quick look at it. Just look at it this way. Just Google the electricity rates for Norwich Utility, which is still a public utility.
That may be a population difference, though.
No, it's not. It's a public.
No,
utility.
I just said it may be. And you're talking about Norwich, the town, right?
I'm talking about Norwich Public Utilities, who serves many towns. Look up the Chicopee Public Utilities, and then look up Eversource.
But they don't serve. Okay, but they don't serve the magnitude of energy to the region.
That has nothing to do with it.
Well, it always plays a role in what it costs. That always plays a role in it.
Unless we're only talking specifically about this one locality.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the difference between a public utility, just like we have.
Right. But scale matters, Dave. Scale does matter. Scale is important, right?
It was scale before.
No. Scale meaning what I'm talking about is what Eversource serves versus what Norwich serves, right? That scale does matter.
Not
okay.
In the case of how the electricity is generated and how it's distributed.
I understand
that doesn't play a part in it. I'm just saying, go back and look at what it was prior to privatization of these utilities compared to public utilities.
I'm granting you that. Like I said, I'll cede that ground. If indeed the research bears out, I'll be happy to see that and say Dave was 100% right on that front.
But you're not going to be able to go back.
You'll be stunned. You'll be stunned at what I don't know if we'll be able to go back to the rates. I'm just talking about just finding out whether or not indeed your thesis is true. So I will look into it.
Okay, please do.
I will. Thank you, sir. Let me get to Christine in Middletown. Where the heck is there? It is. How are we doing?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Roseanne, you inspired me when you had a picture of someone from the Metropolitan Community Church at these never-ending ICE protests.
Well, now, Christine, you know that person is a member of that church. I was there, and that individual was there. The day that I was there to speak to Aaron Miller, that individual was there. That's how I recognized her.
Well, there's a new development because I watched the sermon on Facebook. After all, I'm not allowed into church, so. Mm-hmm. And then Pastor Miller did the sermon. At the very end, he called Renee Good a prophet. This is a person. Yes, it's up there on Facebook, Reese.
A prophet of what?
Absurd.
I
don't know, but but this is so inappropriate, though. This is a person who's an agitator, who is antagonizing and interfering with ICE and law enforcement. We can't be glorifying this.
Yeah,
and this is a pastor of a church that does it.
You know what? And it's so funny because Aaron Miller is supposed to be operating a church. It's not a church. It's an activist.
It's another day school in Minnesota.
Yeah, what did you say? It's like a what?
It's another daycare in Minnesota.
It seems like just an it's kind of insane. I will go look it up, Christine. And by the way, you were saying you were inspired by Roseanne posting a picture of the member. What do you mean you were inspired?
Well, because it said I haven't paid attention to MCC, so I just want to see what they're doing with their things. So I know they are a social justice center.
Yeah.
But this is, I have to bring light to this. This is something that people need to know. This is not acceptable.
Yeah, whatever is going on in that church, it's not legal. That much I know. Whatever the case is, Christine, I got to take a break. But thank you so much. Okay.
Take it easy.
You got it.
Nice evening.
You too. I got to go. What did you want to say real quick?
I just was thinking about the study that you and I read, or the gentleman that we heard saying that once a nation allows sexual depravity to run rampant in the nation falls.
It's got 30 years.
Two things that are prevalent in the fall of a nation. One is sexual depravity. The other one is unchecked immigration. Look at Rome.
Yeah, interesting. All right, folks, that's our show. We will see you tomorrow. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. She is Roseanne on the radio. Say good night, Roseanne.
Good night, Roseanne.
We will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And getting you home is our good friend, Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Good night, Mark.